the Canva class. So my name is Praise Oluwanifemi Taylor Shofolan, and a lot of people call me Taylor. I've been a graphic designer since 2018. I'm a media enthusiast, a tutor, and a team lead. I currently lead a couple of media teams in different organizations. Aside my love for media, I'm passionate about business. I co-founded a campus magazine in Unilag called the Z-Line magazine, and I'm a realtor under the name Taylor Realty. I help people secure future by guiding them to make well-informed decisions in real estate investment. So you can connect with me on my social media handles. Yeah, so let's go straight into the class. So this is Canva. So Canva is a design platform that made design easy and simple for everyone. So you necessarily don't have to be a designer before you can use Canva, because they have made their tools so simple and so easy for everyone to use. But what will make you stand out, what will make you produce good outputs, or what's going to make you maximize the use of Canva is if you learn graphics design. If you learn graphic design, whatever thing you create on Canva would be outstanding, and that's what separates you from the rest. And this is one of the reasons why you should pay attention to this class. So this is Canva. You can, on your phone, it's a website as well as an application on your phone. So I'm using the web version. Is a little bit different from how it looks like on your phone. So once you open Canva, this is what you see. There are various things you can do on Canva. There are various. The reason why I love Canva is because of there are over a million of resources, pictures. So you don't have to, as a designer, if you're using Photoshop or Courage or any other platform, you have to bring in your elements. You have to bring in the pictures you're going to use. You have to download them already, then bring into the application. But on Canva, you can actually get demo videos. You can actually get videos, actually get pictures, in virtually almost everything you need to create a design. So Canva it has a free version as well as the paid version, the premium version, which is called Canva Pro. Well, I'm going to be teaching us on a free version because I know most of us right now do not have the Pro version. But if you can successfully design on the free version, there is virtually no hello, can you hear me? Hello? Oh god. I literally did not know I was not, yeah, you guys were not hearing me. I was just talking. So I'm sorry, my
We can hear
laptop
you now.
got disconnected. So I think that was what happened. So I'm connecting with, I'm speaking with my phone right now. So we're moving straight to graphic design. So yeah, so please, can we move our mics now? Moving straight to the class. Remember that before, was it yesterday? I told every one of us to mention our name, why we chose graphic design, why we choose graphic, and what we do. I mentioned that is to have a information as a student. Need graphic design. I saw that there are a lot of business owners, a lot of to do with content. So I said it's important. Design is important for whatever we are doing. It is what used to market our products or pass our message. All right. So
Prince, your network is cracking.
it's cracking. Gosh. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
It's better now.
Okay, all right. So what is graphics design? What's graphics design? It involves the combination of images, color, text to communicate information and messages to an audience. So if you repeat design, is the combination of images, shapes, colors, and text to communicate information and messages to an audience. First definition I can give graphic design. This as you need to know most of the things you need to know about graphics design. So what do you see in any graphics design? I've mentioned four elements, which are image, shape, color, and text. There's no graphics design you ever see that will not have at least two or three of these four things I mentioned. If you look at any board, if you look at anything called design, you surely see uh, one of the at least two of these four. And what's the purpose of this graphics design? The purpose is to communicate information, to pass a message to an audience. So if you want to use the big grammar or what you see on the internet, I would say it says graphic design is the profession and academic discipline whose activity consists in projecting visual communication intended to transmit specific messages to social groups with specific objectives. I'll repeat that. Graphics design is the profession and academic discipline whose activity consists in projecting visual communication intended to transmit specific messages to social groups with specific objectives. But I still prefer my first definition, which is more simpler, which is graphic design involves the combination of images, shapes, colors, and text to communicate information and messages to an audience. So to design is much more than simply to assemble, to order, to edit. It is to add value and meaning. It is to illuminate. It is to simplify. It is to clarify. It is to modify, dignify, to dramatize and persuade. And sometimes it is to amuse people. So these are various functions or various uh, functions of graphic design. So a graphic designer is a communicator, is someone who takes ideas and give them visual form so that others can understand them. So if there's a message to be passed to people, the graphic designer take the message, puts them in a visual form. It is somebody that's thought about the traffic lights. I'm using that as an example now. Someone that thought about this traffic lights and thought that, okay, the color red means stop, and he put that in a visual form. And when we see it, we understand uh, that. So you don't need anybody. When you see a skull, when you see a skull with two bones crossed, and you see a red sign, you know that, oh, this is danger. So that is basically what graphic design is for. So I'll try to. Can you hear me now? I'm really sorry for these glitches. So I'm sure you can see my screen. So like I said, graphic design involves the combination of images, shapes, colors, and text to communicate information and messages to an audience. Graphics design is the profession and academic discipline whose activity consists in projecting visual communication intended to transmit specific messages to social groups with specific objectives. Yeah. And I said graphic design is much more than to just assemble, to order and to edit. Graphic design is to add value, to add meaning, to simplify, to clarify things, to modify a message, to dignify something, to dramatize a scene, to persuade, and to amuse. So moving on, in creating a good design, there are principles to be followed. In creating a good design, there are principles to be followed. And these are the rules that are going to guide your design. If you fault in these rules, you are not going to have a very good design. So the principles of design suggest how the design should best arrange the various how the design should best arrange the various components of a design to ensure elements of the overall design are connected to one another. So the first principle we'll be looking at is balance. So the first principle we'll be looking at is balance. So objects in design carry weight just like in the physical world. Well, it is sorry, objects in design carry weight just like in the physical world, and it's called visual weight. The visual weight of a design needs to have balance. If one side is too heavy, the viewer's eye goes to the heavy part. So this is just psychology, this is just normal psychology. Once you have okay, let's say you enter into a room and you see a large mirror and a small mirror, your eyes will first go to the large mirror before you notice the small mirror. It is normal. It is normal. So achieving balance visual balance in graphic design is done by using asymmetry and using symmetry and asymmetry. Symmetry is when things or an object is in due proportion and arrangement. So if you look at this image here, you see two things. The first one, see balance. The balance here is symmetrical. You can, if you divide this image into two, if you divide this image into two, you see that each half are identical. But asymmetry is the absence or violation of symmetry. If an object is said to have asymmetry, though they may have two halves, but they are not of the same size and shape. Balance is achieved by balancing the design in shapes, line, and other elements distributed evenly. So the next one is alignment. So alignment is all about keeping your design organized, ensuring that all aspects of your design are aligned either to the top, to the side, or just to create a an organization, a clean output. So if you look at this image here, you see the first one. The first image is good alignment. The second one is bad alignment. You can see how well arranged the first image is. It is well aligned. If you look at the spaces in between those shapes, you will notice that they are the same. If you can measure it, you will notice that they are the same. And if you look at this bad alignment, the image is the design is just there. It's not beautiful. It's not beautiful. So it's very important. The rule of alignment is very important in graphic design. You must ensure that all your things are aligned. If you are going to create a just imagine a newspaper, you open a newspaper, you buy a newspaper to read, and it's not aligned. The text, the heading is somewhere maybe at the right side, then the text is just disorganized. You will not want to read it, because all these principles aid the message. It aids the perception of the message, how you receive the message. Moving on, hierarchy. So this explains how well content is processed by people. The most important element or content should be the most important. Hierarchy is not based on a design style, but rather the order of importance. So a good design leads the eye through each area in priority order. So an example is an article. There's a mistake there. An example is an article. The headline is the most important thing on the page, so you can identify what you are reading. The intro gives you a summary of the article. The content gives you the meat of the design principle. If you read the article from the bottom to the top, it won't make much sense. A good rule of hierarchy is that the most important element must be prominent. So going back to this design, you look at the first image, there's no hierarchy in it. You don't know what is more important. But if you look at the next one, you see the square, the rectangles. Those shapes there are to show the hierarchy. What is most important? This design here is just like a template for a newspaper or something. So if you notice a newspaper, you will see the headline, article slabbed Tinubu, so big, because of that's the most important thing. Hey, please, nobody. Hey, I'm recording this class. Article did not slap Tinubu. Please. Yeah. So it's just an example. So if anything happen, the when you are creating a design, you have to know which um content or which element is the most important thing. Then you make it bigger. Because that is what you want your audience to see. I tell people most times that you must have your you must have your audience in mind when creating design. Sorry, I've lost connection to my laptop again. So can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can. I'm really sorry for all these glitches. I'll ensure it won't repeat itself in the next class. I'm very sorry. So, hierarchy. So, the next one is repetition. So, repetition is repeating patterns to establish consistency throughout the design. Repetition is the reoccurrence of a design element commonly utilized in patterns or texture. A repetitive element could be repeated lines, shapes, colors, fonts, or other design elements. So this repetition is also an important principle in design. It gives beauty to your design. So just like the image that is right here, the image that is right here. So you can use that for a background or just to fill up space. It just creates beauty in the design. But you must ensure that when you are using the rule of repetition, when you are creating more patterns to your design, you must also follow the rule or the principle of alignment. As you can see, every shape here is aligned. You can see they are following on a straight line and they are well organized. So you must ensure that once you are following the rule of repetition is aligned also. So emphasis deals with the part of the design that is meant to stand out. So in most cases, this means the most important information the design is meant to convey. Emphasis can be created by size, weight, position, color, shape, and style. It also means to stress a point or create a focal point. Adding emphasis to an object creates a focal point which grabs an audience attention. It is where you want the viewer to look first, but doesn't overpower the rest of the design or it will be out of balance. So looking at this design, you can see emphasis in the pink. Listen, if you look at this design, the first thing you will notice is the pink shape before you notice other things. So it's just like if you enter a room that is white and you see a blue chair, before you notice that the room is white, you first notice the blue chair. Then after you notice the blue chair, you then see that, oh, the blue chair is in a white room. So that's the essence of emphasis. You have to have the audience in mind. Okay, you know the message you want to pass across. So it's just like when you see something like uh don't don't do this or don't five don'ts or something, you will see that they will ensure that don't is bold and maybe red color so that you see it's that's what you first see. Then when you see don't or you see stop, then you not be okay, why should I stop? Then you not check other things. So if they just use the message, if they just made stop right there, let's say they say stop, there's a pit in front. If they made the old font or the old text the same size and there's no hierarchy, there's no emphasis, it will not be too good. It will not really stress the message. It's not really going to stress the point. People will just read it normally. But if you see something like stop very big, it is color red, and under it there's a piece in front. When the person says stop, there's an emphasis laid there, and the person will hold on and say, okay, what's this thing trying to say? So that's the importance of emphasis. The next one is contrast. It is the difference between two or more objects in a design. It is the difference in objects. The difference in objects could be light and dark, thick and thin, small and large, bright and dull. Contrast is most commonly associated with readability, legibility, and accessibility. A text-based design could be high contrast by using a black text on a white background. To dial down the contrast, you use gray text on a white background. So contrast is all about readability, accessibility, and legibility. So for example, if you want to pass a message and you want it to be seen, if you are using a white background, you will definitely not write the text in white. You want it to have contrast. You want there to be a difference so people can really see it. So contrast is that difference. So when you put a black text on a white background, you have created a contrast. So if you look at this image here, you will see contrast in shape, contrast in color, contrast in scale, contrast in layout. So it's you creating is you creating there's a difference between the elements that you are using. So the major use of contrast, the major thing that people use contrast mainly is contrast in color, just to ensure that whatever you are creating, your viewers can read them legibly, your viewers can see them legibly. So it is very bad that a lot of acclaimed designers do not obey this rule of contrast. They put colors that cannot be easily seen. They put a bright color on top of a bright color. So to follow the rule of contrast, put a darker color on top of a bright color. If the background is a bright color, put a dark color on top of it. The next one is design elements. So design elements are the basic unit of visual design. They are the things that you put in the design. They are the things that you use to convey the visual message you are trying to pass across. And if you remember when I gave the definition, I mentioned that graphics design is combination of four things. And I mentioned image, text, shape, and color. So these are the main thing that makes up a design. Yeah. So the first one we'll be looking at is design line. So this is the first and most basic element of design. In design, a line is any two connected points. This line can be smooth, it can be curved, it can be rough, it can be continuous, it can be broken, it can be thick, and it can be thin. So this image here is an example of various lines. So it's based on what you want to achieve, on what you want, the output you want. That's what you are going to use to determine whatever element you want to use in design. So the next one is shape. Shape is a two-dimensional defined area created by lines. So there are two types of shapes. We have the geometric shapes and the organic shapes. So the geometric shapes are shapes that have sides and angles, apart from circle. Are the normal regular shapes they taught us in school: the circle, the square, the trapezium, the parallelogram, and so much more. But organic shapes are shapes that are irregular figures. Some of them are actually regular figures, like the shape of flower, the shape of a starfish, the shape of a dog or something, or the shape of leaf. So some of these shapes, organic shapes can be used in design. Moving on to the next, um space. So space is the area above, below, around, or beneath an object. So a space can either be positive or negative. So the positive space refers to the subjects or areas of interest. That the positive space is the subject of the design, and the negative space is the area. They call the negative space also the white space. So white space doesn't necessarily mean the space has to be white, right? So the white space or the negative space is the background area that surrounds the subject or the area of interest. So if you see a traffic sign that says zebra crossing or something, you see the image of zebra crossing, you see a representation of zebra crossing, then you see the background is yellow, you see some empty space. So that empty space is the negative space, then the actual elements of zebra crossing that you see is a positive space. So you have to create spaces in your design to add emphasis to that particular area. You have to create spaces. So maybe when we are designing, I will explain further. One when we are using these design elements, I'll be explaining further on this the elements. So the next one is typography. So typography is the art of arranging type of text, and the text can either be bold, they can be regular, they can be light, they can take any form. We have a lot of fonts that are you see something of extra bold, medium, semi bold, condensed. There are various, it can come in various sizes. So and there are various types of fonts. There are various types of fonts. If you look at this image here, there are 6 types of fonts here. The first one is serif fonts. Serif fonts are the classic fonts. The next one is sans serif fonts. Sans serif. The next one is script fonts. Script fonts are the fonts that look like a fashion script. The way this elegant text here look. The next one is handwritten form. Handwritten fonts. These fonts are fonts that look like you wrote them with hand. Though this fonts here doesn't really look like something written with hand, but there are more handwritten fonts that looks exactly like your handwriting. So the next one is slab serif. So slab serif are more like serif fonts, but the difference is the edges are they don't have round edges. They have angle edges. If you look at the B, you see that those edges are not round. But if you look at the serif font, you see that they are round. Look at, for example, look at L from the classic. You can see that it's a little bit round, and the L in bold is not round. It is just is angular. So the last one is decorative fonts. So decorative fonts are fonts that can be used, that they are not really how do I put it? They are decorative fonts. It explains it. They are decorative fonts. So though this example here doesn't really give what decorative fonts looks like, but as we go on the course, I would be giving us more details about that. So when you say decorative font, you see fonts that, okay, there are some fonts that have like a camel effect on it. There are some fonts that look like chalk. like it was chalk that was used to write the text, the font or something. So those are decorative fonts. Yeah. So those are decorative fonts. So that's majorly what we'll be treating today. What we'll be treating today. Like I've mentioned, what is graphics design? We said graphics design is is a combination of images, shapes, colors, text to communicate information, message to an audience. Oh yeah, I'm sorry I didn't mention this. So the last element, okay, there are two more elements for me to say. There are two more elements. So color, color. So what is color? So color is one of the most powerful elements of design because it brings life into your design, right? So the color can stand alone or act as a background, and it is important to use color because it attracts attention. So there's a psychology behind the color you use for your design. There's a feeling you evoke. That's why you have brands use various colors. There's a kind of feeling you evoke. Just imagine you go to a country and or another universe and you appear there and their traffic lights, they don't go on red, they go on yellow. It will look so strange to you because in this our own universe, red is the feeling that red evoke is danger. That's why you cannot see any, if you want to see a design like a skull, a design for danger, a skull and two bones crossed, you will not see that image with purple color because purple doesn't evoke danger. You don't need a learned person, you don't need an educated person to know that, oh, this particular image is danger. And even animals see, I don't know if you have ever noticed, animals also understand color. When I was younger, I think they say that if a cow see a red clothes, he notice that it is danger and wants to fight it or run away. I don't know how true that is, but animals understand color. There's a psychology of color that everyone understands. So if I think I'm going to give us an assignment for us to study or understand what psychology. Just read on psychology of color, and understand what it means. Why do all these brands, why do Coca-Cola use red? Why do MTN use yellow? Why do luxury brand, why do they like black and gold? So all these colors have their meaning. If you notice, almost all luxury brands and they use gold or they use black because black shows something of royalty, something that is luxury. Most perfume brands use black or silver. Check their logos. So this is just to show the feeling that they want to evoke through the colors. So I would have, if not for our time, I would have delved into color. Color is a whole big course on its own. I would have talked about the division of color. We have CMYK, RGB, or maybe when the people taking Photoshop and CorelDRAW class, they will explain more on that. So the last element I will be talking about is texture. So texture is how things look like, how they feel if they were to be touched. So in your design, you can also put that too. How you want things to be feel. So texture draws attention and it can be added to elements like shapes, color, image, and type. That's your text. So if you can create a wood effect. I can create a design and I put a wood texture on the design. So I want you to have this feeling that, oh, assuming you can actually touch this design, you have the touchy feeling of a wood. So that's what um texture does. So in the next few minutes, I'll just be running through a few things. Types of design. So we have various types of design. We have corporate design. Corporate design has to do with visual identity of a company, or the brand identity. So that's the brand logo, the brand color, the brand guide, various things about the company here. So the next type of design is advertising and marketing design. We'll be dwelling more on this because that is according to statistics of you students. Most of you are business men and women. So, and this is what, and I'm very sure this is one of the reasons why you chose to partake in this training, is for you to create social media designs, for you to create marketing designs for your business. So um it's marketing and advertising design is one of the types of design. The next one is publication design. So publication design refers to print designs. It refers to digital publishing design. It refers to something like a newspaper, a book, an ebook, magazines, a newsletter, and so on. A bulletin here. The fourth type of design that I have for us is environmental design. So is environmental design is the use of visual elements in an environment to connect with people to those places. So the purpose of this environmental design is to improve people's experience in a particular place, right? To make it more memorable, and to also inform the viewer. Just like we have the road signs, we have um wall mukos or mokos. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. In Lagos State, you will see wall mokos everywhere. You see spray paints, like you see walls with various paints. So these are environmental designs. So when you see a signage that shows heading down is Oroshoki, move down is Apapa, turn right Bariga, turn left Ibadan. That is also an example of an environmental design. So it is either to inform the viewer or to entertain the viewer. So another one is packaging design. So packaging designs are, if you have heard of product designers, this is where they fit in. So packaging design is also same thing as product design. So it's the use of visual elements to form packaging for products such as labels, stickers, carton, wrapping paper, various other things that has to do with packaging of products. So another type of design is motion design. So motion design has to do with motion, that is video, and sound. So this can include an animation, a GIF, a website feature, or a video game. So once a company creates an app, they try to create a motion design to show you how the app works and the likes. And also for a game too, it is also a motion design is done. Another type of design is web design. Web design is more like UI design. Okay, so let me just move on to move. And that one is UI design, which means user interface design. So it refers to the interactive element of a design. It's the type of design that requires good understanding of user needs because it focuses on anticipating what users will do on the device and ensuring the interface has the elements that makes those actions possible. So so basically that's it. And the last one is UX design, which means user experience design, and it's all about enhancing the user's experience while using a particular product. So who is a graphic designer? A graphic designer is a visual communicator who uses design elements to communicate information, ideas, and message to an audience. And the design skills that every designer should have. So the first one is typography. Is a skill for you to know the right colors to use. There's also a psychology of typography. So there's a psychology of typography. So if you want to create a design for a for children, maybe a children event, you know the kind of fonts you will use. You will not use a font like Old English. You use a font that looks more childish, that has round edges, a decorative font. Yeah, a decorative font because it relates more to children. And if you want to write an official letter, you will never use fonts for an official letter because it's an official letter. So you have to understand how typography works, the right fonts to use. Even in your normal design, you have to understand the right fonts to use, how to even use those fonts. Yeah. The next one is communication skills. You must have good communication skills because it's what you are passing, you are communicating ideas and messages to people. So if you have good communication skills, you know how well to pass the message. Problem solving skills. Yeah, design is all about problem solving. So there's a problem and you are creating a solution by passing the message. So you must you must be creative. Yeah, you must be creative as a designer. You must be creative because that is how people are going to accept. If you are not creative, it's just like music. If you are not creative in your music, people are not going to really get your message and people are not going to really want to be part of your audience. Yeah, so graphics design applications for the system. We have CorelDRAW, which we'll be learning. We have Photoshop. We have Adobe Illustrator, which is the Adobe version of CorelDRAW. We have InDesign, Adobe InDesign, which is used to create publication designs. And for smartphone, we have Canva, which we'll be learning, Pixel Lab, we have Spark Post, we have Photopier.com, and many others, and many others. So um, so this is the end of the class. So like I mentioned what is design. Design involves the combination of images, shapes, and text to communicate information, messages to an audience. Design principles. We have balance, we have alignment, we have hierarchy, we have repetition, we have emphasis, we have contrast, and we also have space. For design elements, we say design elements are the basic units of visual designs that form the design, and it allows us to convey the message we have or the ideas and informations we have to our audience. And the elements we mentioned are lines, shapes, and under shapes we said there are two types of shapes: geometric shapes and organic shapes. We mentioned about color. Color is also an element of design. typography, space, and texture. And types of design, we said they are corporate design, marketing and advertising design, publication design, environmental